Authorities say at least 19 people have died in a suicide bombing at an education center in Kabul. Police say the attack in the west of the Afghan capital came as students were preparing for an exam. Dozens of people have been injured. There's been no claim of responsibility. Journalist Ali Latifi is following events in the Afghan capital. He gave us this update.
The attack took place early in the morning in what would essentially be the equivalent of a testing center for the GRE or the SAT. So you're talking about high school age children and a little bit older who are preparing for the college entrance exam. And if you look at the footage that's been submitted online, you can tell that whoever was planning this attack clearly targeted it to have the most civilian casualties, because you're talking about people who were sitting taking practice tests in classrooms, crowds of people who didn't have an easy way out, who probably would have been, hustling and huddling to get out of the situation afterwards. So, this was clearly very specifically targeted to inflict the most amount of civilian damage and to hurt the most vulnerable people in one of the most vulnerable communities in Afghanistan. We're talking about a neighborhood, Dashti Barchi, in the west of Kabul that has repeatedly come under attack over the last 6 or 7 years, and these sectarian-inspired attacks. And we've seen very civilian targets like this. Another testing center. We've seen masjids. We've seen wrestling gyms. We've seen even a maternity ward come under attack in this neighborhood. And they're always planned in a way to A, to inflict the most civilian harm, but also B, to have the most sort of an effect on the mental state of people. Everyone after these attacks is unbelievably distraught, because just the nature of them and the types of places that they target and who they end up killing.
Ali, can you tell me, are these attacks becoming more frequent under the Taliban?
No, I don't think they're becoming more frequent. Unfortunately, this has been a common threat over the last, I would say, 6 to 7 years, and usually, we don't know yet, but usually these attacks are claimed by the so-called Islamic State, who are, fighting the former Western-backed government and the Taliban at the same time, before the Taliban came to power. And they've been continuing their attacks since the Taliban came to power. And really what this situation shows is that neither government, not the Islamic Republic, the Western Baptist Islamic Republic, and not the Islamic Emirate, has been able to properly take out these so-called Islamic State forces. And neither one has actually been successful in clearing out, even one insurgency during their rule. And this was obviously one of the big promises of the Taliban coming in when the Islamic Emirate first came to power. They were like, the country will be secure, the war will end, bombings and things of that nature will end. And we've seen that it's been the exact opposite, that they have been just as incapable of dealing with insurgency as the former republic was.
Journalist Ali Latifi in Kabul, thank you.